So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our session, this roundtable on Swiss microtechnology. It is a topic which is pretty important because it's a century-old tradition, the Swiss microtechnology. But lately, in these last 2 years, there have been a lot of challenges. Global politics, economics, competition, and also cost. Switzerland is a high-cost region. So all this has created a lot of challenges for the Swiss microtechnology industry. And the title of this is Quo Vadis, which means how do we go from now, what are the challenges, and what is the future? What is waiting for us in the future? What is the path to the future? We have 4 excellent contributors that I hope will enlighten you a little on this future. So I will present them. First, my name, Fabio Manzini, so I'm the CEO of GMP. Together with Swissphotonics, we have sponsored this event, plus the conferences. I hope that they've been interested, you like them. So since 50 years, we simply supply equipment, components, systems in photonics for industry and research. Okay, so our first contributor will be Christoph Harder. He is the director of Swissphotonics. And then we have 2 contributors from industry. We have Florian Stauffer from Siposa, Neuchâtel. And they are very reputed and known for high quality and precision machine for micro-dispensing fluids, for example. Watch industry, but not only. Then we have Rolando Ferrini, who is the CPO, or Chief Product Officer of Femtoprint, a worldwide known company based in Ticino, and who is specialized in glass microfabrication with lasers. And then our last contributor, it comes from a very important field, which is training the engineers, because we need also for the future engineers who will be able to tackle the challenges. And this is Gabriel Dumitru, who is now the director of the engineering department of ARC, which is in the Jura ARC school, training engineers. Voila. So now I will give the floor to Christoph Harder for the debate that I hope you will find very interesting. Where do we go from now?
Fabio, thank you very much for the introduction. Also, thank you for sponsoring this event. If you get tired, we have just next to it, we have some espresso coffee to freshen you up. And thanks a lot for the introduction. I must also say this session is being videotaped. So it's whatever we say, we are on a picture here. So we're going to make sure that it comes across not only to this public here, but to everybody else who actually watches us afterwards on YouTube. You know, something about how we want to do it. You know, we have, as Fabio said, these 3 people from very different directions. And the idea is, you know, where do we go? Are there new markets? Are there new technologies? What is the next gen engineer who is today studying? I mean, can he use his know-how then also in a few years from now? And in order to get that going, I've asked each of them to put 2 or 3 voices together so to make a statement. That should be about 10-15 minutes, and then we still have an hour time where we're going to discuss among each, and also if you have questions. So with that, I'm going to turn the slide and go. Florian Stauffer from Ciposa is going to have a short introduction on the company.
Thank you, Christoph. Good afternoon, everybody. Ciposa is a company, Swiss company that has 60 years old this year. So it's not anymore a startup, but it's still a small company, 70 employees. On the life of Ciposa, there was different markets behind us, it was watch industry, but also semiconductor, and now it's a lot watch industry and coming really near to enter on the photonic market. We are located in Neuchâtel, Haute-Rive, really in the heart of the micro technology area, and we have mainly engineers in our company. And okay, Christophe asked me to do a statement about the tradition of microtechnology. So I strongly believe we have some clearly strange, like we have the Swiss-made label that is recognized since many, many years. And I was wondering why this label is capable to stay alive now, and why we have some interest from the rest of the world about what we are doing here in Switzerland. We have, I guess, a really unique DNA and expertise in all the area of the, let's say, Watch Valley or Switzerland or Arc Jurassien, due to the companies that are inside, that are working for watch industry, but also other domain. And we have also the chance to have some really good research center like HEARC, with Dimitri, CSEM, EPFL, EPFJ also. And I think there is also a kind of, through this last 2 centuries, a lot of crises that attack a little bit our ecosystem. And sometimes we can be leader, or we have a kind of domination of the domain. Then we have a crisis coming from outside. And then the ecosystem needs to reinvent. And it's happened quite a few times, and it's why we have to stay confident for the future that we're going to be able to reinvent ourselves. The ecosystem could be quite strong if we compare to a single industry. So we have this chance here, but we also have some challenge. I believe one of the challenge that is we have a really good lifetime, and maybe we do not have hungry enough, meaning other area in the world when to go fast, like Asia, or now also we see the USA that are moving quite a lot. I don't know if it's a good direction or not, but this is not the point. They are moving. And in the middle here, in Europe and Switzerland, we have, I guess, a lack of a strategy against these 2 areas. When we have a lack, it's also a possibility to have some new opportunities. From what I've seen, we can have some really high technology developed in Switzerland, but it's difficult to keep them here when we have to go in high volumes. We have small countries, small investment, and when volumes have to grow up, usually it's moved away, and it's something that we have to consider. One thing also, sorry, a bit last slide. Also in the I go to the next. Okay. Just a few words about the last slide. Precision is not a product, it's really a culture, and we have really a good culture about precision in our area. What will be the opportunity for the future? Which domain can be interesting for us or for the region? We see, and if we are here today, it's also to speak about photonics. Photonics is definitely a new area and domain where microassembly is needed. The target is not to be within 2-3 microns. The target is to be within 200 or 300 nanometers, so 10 times more accurate. But I guess that our ecosystem is capable to move into this domain, and in any case, Siposa is moving into this domain because it's really interesting and exciting. Defense, it's also unfortunately a domain that is growing quite fast now. We decide not to go there from Siposa's statement. We will not provide our technology to some domains that can kill people, so it's our choice. But anyway, a lot of companies in the ecosystem work for this domain. And also, I believe some other domain like microenergy and so on with really low energy sensor will be developed. And we showed this already in the past.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, very good introduction. We're going to have afterwards questions with respect where you can go in more depth into this topic. Next is a younger company. And Rolando, if you can just quickly summarize go through your slides and.
Yeah. Does it work? Yes. So, good afternoon, everybody. As Christoph was pointing out, I'm working for Femtoprint. We are a small Swiss company, very much specialized in deep tech development, in actually micromachining of glass. What I summarized in the next couple of slides actually goes beyond Femtoprint, comes from 26 years spent in Switzerland, working in the entire value chain for tech development and deep tech. Before joining Femtoprint, I was 11 years at CSM, so a research organization as group leader. And before I was in academics, I was 11 years at the PFL, involved in an open innovation project across academy and industry. So I saw all this, let's say, the evolution from academics to research to really industrial deployment. And I try to summarize here opportunities and challenges. I always like to start with opportunities. What are the opportunities for microtechnology in Switzerland today? First of all, as Florian was saying, we have a world-class ecosystem that goes from universities, PFL, ATH, research centers, Fachhochschule, up to really a lot of companies doing a lot, investing a lot in research and development. And we have a strong funding structure for developments, for early stages, seed funding. It's, I would say, very easy in Switzerland to launch a spin-off, a startup that's kind of a la mode now at PFL and ATH. And there's a lot of money available to start ventures, which is super good because we can spin out and spin off a lot of ventures from the technology we developed in the university and in the research centers. We have a lot of companies that are, I call them hidden champions, because this was when I was at CSM. So from time to time, I was going and visiting customers in the middle of nowhere. You work around in Switzerland and suddenly a company pops up and they are world leaders in some deep tech technology or deep or very specified technology market. It's incredible, and it's one of the richest points for Switzerland. We are investing a lot in Switzerland at the moment in AI, automatization. We had a lot of efforts in Industry 4.0, and now we are going to Industry 5.0. And as again Florian was saying, we have really a strong educational system. We have universities, we have Fachhochschule, we can really form, educate at highest level engineers, technicians, whatever. Now, what are the challenges? No, you'd have to go back to the previous slide. First of all, we need to separate what are the emerging technologies, established technologies. And sometimes we invest still too much in established technologies instead of pushing forward faster the emerging technologies. If we compare, for example, to Europe or to US, take quantum. How much Europe, US are investing in quantum compared to what Switzerland investing in quantum, and what are investments in other more established technologies that maybe do not need so many investments at the moment, if we want to keep the race with our competitors. We need to scale up manufacturing. I'm always horrified when I hear if it's scaled up, if it's in volumes, it's not for Switzerland. It needs to go to Asia. It's false. Especially today with AI, automatization, we need to think to keep technologies in Switzerland. We see so many spin-off. I mean, I work in photonics in the last 12 months. There were so many acquisitions of small companies in Switzerland and startups, but they went abroad. So people come here and shop, and that's not good. We need to access global markets. We need to have really the courage to say, okay, we can address markets where people are talking about millions of parts per year. And we need to be able to attract investments and capitals. One of our weaknesses is that it's very much easy to find money to start, but it's very difficult to find money to scale up. That's one of the things that is recognized in the field, especially in photonics. And another point that is, let's say, the entire ecosystem is suffering. We can educate, but we cannot find people. We cannot find good people, good engineers, good technicians. They are very rare. So that's really a problem that is slowing down the industrialization and the scale up in Switzerland. So my perspective.
Yeah, I just want to say, that you said we are missing people. That's leading over to Gabriel right away.
Absolutely. Our messages.
Yeah, it's, Should we go straight to Gabriel or?
Well, I can quickly summarize this. For me, we need to prioritize the investments, choosing where we want to put money. We should not fund all technologies, but they're most promising and where there is really a market attraction, a market pool. We need to also sometimes decide that a technology is developed. We don't need to invest in development anymore. It's out there, it's done, so no need to invest money. We need to strengthen our manufacturing capabilities. We can produce in Switzerland, and the watchmaking industry is an example. It's a very particular one, I agree, but it's an example. We need to direct public funding where they are needed. Again, the example of quantum is very significant. And we need also to repurpose our technology roadmap if some areas are obsolete. We need to say, okay, they're obsolete, and we dismiss them.
Okay, so Gabriel, you know what you have to do. I mean, okay, if you can present.
Does it work? Yes. Good afternoon. Thank you for the pass. Ladies and gentlemen, we are the School of Engineering of 3 cantons, Neuchâtel, Jura, and the French-speaking part of Canton Bern. We are one of many schools of engineering in Switzerland. By chance, we are here, and we are the only one offering in watchmaking. So for us, microtechnology is watchmaking, the most part, and we are pushing hard to the biomedical and other things that are related to microtechnology. As you see, thank you, Christoph, we are offering 3 types of degrees, concept and design. We have industrial system and communication and microengineering. As you see, but actually, thank you very much. We are one small step in the process of becoming a technician. You said tradition. Tradition, someone has to be ready to take over. I'm not sure that we have enough people ready to take over. And this is one of our job, but it's the job of this whole chain. I'm calling it the highway of education, starting with the professional education, vocational training, us, and then after us, the high school, the higher. So we are thinking in a chain of value from the vocational education through the PhD. So I'm going now to the steps. What do we think that we have to do? We are living in a society where technical professions are less and less sexy. You have children, you have relatives, you have young relatives. How many are going to study to the ETA, to the EPF, or to become an engineer? The profession of engineer, of technical professions, are less and less sexy, and this is one of important point. We are working with our vocational schools to influence, to convince parents becoming an engineer, it's worth it. Then, why people are coming to us? People are coming to us to become bankable, to have a value of the employment market. To show them that we need partners, we need you to show perspectives. And this is one of our jobs, to build a relationship with you, with all our partners, to show our students there is a future, there is just the entry step to the real life. Then, bachelor, master, that are very good, but it's once in a lifetime. We are living in a society where, and AI we will discuss, the reality are changing very fast. We as a school, we have to keep pace for our partners, for our students, offering these continuing education. What I've studied 25 years ago doesn't suit anymore. We have to keep pace with life that is changing. IA, digitalizations, we will discuss later. We cannot think it away. And as I said, we are not alone here. We have to join forces with our organizations, with umbrella associations, like all these that I'm listening there, and with research institutes. Okay. We can skip.
Thank you very much. So, I have prepared a few questions, but a new one came up now during the discussion. You talk about succession planning. I mean, Rolando said, many companies, the patron sells it out to an American. Gabriel said it's difficult for young people to step in. So, Florian, why didn't your dad or your father sell it to an American company? I think you're in the midst of this succession planning. I mean, what's your secret that you could keep it in Switzerland?
Yeah, okay, suppose it's a family company, owned company, and for sure we have sometimes some demand from outside, especially if we say, okay, we are going to move into photonics and it's really exciting, and it maybe put some more value in the company. But we have a little bit this tradition we were born here, and I have this company with my father now, and he has spent the whole life in the industry, in his Mecca before, and so on, and putting the energy on developing this micro technology in Neuchâtel is really a force for us, or a priority for us to keep this in-house here. So we decide to keep it here. We decide to keep it own family business, and we'll see what's happening in the future.
Okay, that's good to have such a tradition, a family tradition, a family business. I understand there are many family businesses here in Jura, and probably if some successor has questions how to keep it in family's hand, might ask Florian. How about you, Rolando? I mean, it's also, your company, I think you're determined to stay Swiss, is my understanding. But you made quite a change. You used to be a Swiss machine tool maker, and the tradition of selling machine tools. And then you gave up and said, no, I'm not going to sell these machines. I'm going to provide a service. What was the reason behind it? And would you recommend that to other people too, not selling machines, but using them to make?
The change was coming very, very rapidly. I think was made the change in the business model 2 to 3 years after the company was founded, and it's very specific to the technology and the business in where Fentoprint was involved. So it's not, I would not given this as a general rule, but the reason was very simple. The machines and the technology that we use, it's not push button. So you need to master really the processes to be able to provide the best-in-class components. And what was happening was the customers were asking the machine, but then they wanted to have the processes too. And then if you start selling machines and processes, after a while, everything is out. You cannot patent fabrication processes. And on the other hand, it was very much clear that the money you could make with selling components were much more than what you could do selling machines. That's the decision, was to switch to contract manufacturer.
Okay.
But we kept building machines because the machines that we have in our production are built by ourselves. So we do not rely on external suppliers of machines.
Yeah, are you contract manufacturer like you have design rules PDK, or also contract developer, that somebody comes with a question which you cannot do yet and you have to first develop the process?
There are several ways we interact with customers depending on the markets, because we address several markets from watchmaking to life science, quantum, photonics. In general, we can provide design rules to the customers. For the specific photonics market, since for years we are able to provide PDKs, we are able to provide design capabilities. It's the new, let's say, way of proposing services that the company has developed in photonics since 4 years. So we have our own products in photonics now.
Yeah, okay. I think that brings me to the education. It's in this changing field where you have every year something new coming up. Can you concentrate just on basics, that an engineer learns something very basic which he can use the next 30 years, or is the basics to learn and how do you attract people to study? You know, it's a lot of work to study. And what do you offer?
I'm laughing because all my colleagues there is intense discussions now. What is basis? What does an engineer need to know in times of IA? Do we still need engineers? Because IA will know everything. And I have the answer. You need basis. You need basis just to be able to judge if what IA is giving makes sense or not. So what we did in the school, we are speaking from our school, each teacher, each professor for its course decides I'm going to allow the use of intelligence of IA after a certain point. So we are defending the point of view that at a certain point we need to give basis and then to allow the extensive use of IA. But we need still basis. I have a discussion with a partner, with a CEO partner, and he was mentioning, Gabriel, it was easy. Earlier, I had a senior after 5 years of experience, and I knew it's a senior, so he knew what or she knew what he's talking. Now, I have someone coming from your school, but very expert in using intelligent IA, and he or she thinks he's already an expert, and this can be a risk. I think you can confer. So our job is to stand up to the basis and said, this belongs to the basic education of an engineer, and then you can use the new technology as a tool.
You know, I just would like to follow up on AI. You know, does that lead us towards like a Chinese model where there is nothing confidential anymore? It's open innovation, or do I ask ChatGPT, give me a confidential answer, but nobody else? I mean, how about you know, if you would do it at Swatch, ask ChatGPT how to do something? Does Swatch have to have its own internal AI, or I mean, how do you deal with that, or how do you recommend how to?
We are working with 3 levels of protection or need of protection, depending on the project, depending on the partner. Not all projects, not all partners need absolute confidentiality. So that you can still use open market in IA models. The intermediate model is the Swiss-based, where the data remain in Switzerland, and the top level, we have our own infrastructures for the project step, and then the partner we encourage to equip itself, him or herself, with the infrastructure to use this tool.
How are you dealing with that? You know, is there one is open innovation and smart with AI, and dumb innovation, just keep it internally? How you deal?
Yeah, it's really a big issue. I mean, it's a concern, but it's worse to consider too much this effect than not using it. So we use it. We try to keep stuff confidential as we can by contract or by anonyming stuff. But we need to use it, and we cannot go slower. We just need to use it as it is now. And even if you put some model in house, the models that are connected, like Claude and ChatGPT and so on, they develop this at a really quick way. So yeah, we need to use it anyway. And maybe we're doing some mistake. I hope not. But it's so efficient for code developing and so on. And presentation and everything. It's a really a good tool. It's coming very fast. Nobody knows exactly how to use it exactly. New engineers going to be a challenge for them because they will not have the experience to challenge the answer from the AI solution. So yeah, we are facing for some new challenges about it.
But you need the people, the person able to judge, makes sense, makes no sense. This is our job.
Right. You have a good challenge.
Yeah. about you, Rolando, how you're dealing with that? I mean, you know, I'm an independent, so I could offer you, ask me the question, and I ask on the internet, and I don't tell anybody that Femtoprint wanted to know it. So I can work as a... Or how do you deal with that? You know, we used to do that with patents, that the patent research you don't do yourself, you give it to somebody else in order to hide your interests.
That's a very good question, and I will copy Florian. I mean, we are using it in the company. We cannot stop using it because it's a very powerful tool. What we are trying to do at the moment, we are trying to educate our people how to use it, and we are defining an internal policy for AI that is very strict. For anything that is process related, nothing goes on AI, for example. We have our own servers. We have everything is protected. And everything is strictly open only to certain level of people. So we have different levels of access in the company.
Yeah, is it time? I mean, if somebody in audience has an opinion, even not a question.
Maybe I start with one. The elephant in the room, China. Rolando mentioned companies that are being acquired abroad, maybe not US. I know of many that have been acquired by Chinese groups in Germany, in Switzerland, all over Europe. I was in China 2 months ago for the Photonics fair, and I was surprised. There is an enormous amount of money, and the target of all those companies is not the US, it's Europe. They are all targeting Europe because the big ones, they are already covered the Chinese market. Now the opportunity is Europe. They are certifying all their products to have all the European certifications, sometimes even more than European companies have. So it's really looking toward Europe. Acquisition, coming with the products, and so on. We saw at ILMAC, last ILMAC fair, there were some Chinese companies present with their booth. It was the first time. They were subcontractors to Swiss companies. And now I told them, but you are in direct competition with your customers, Swiss customers. They said, yeah, don't say it to all. But voila. So this is emotion. So my question now to the whole floor here is opportunity or not? How do you see China?
Yeah. Yeah.
China, we really have to consider that they are really good and very fast. And with what you say now, it's validated this. So they seems to be already ready to come in Europe. We see already a lot of acquisition of some company here with high technology, and they have a really clear strategy. They want to cover this domain with all what is related to photonics and semicon and so on. And I'm not sure if they went to or they already are in and lead this. So I don't know exactly what would be the opportunity, but we have to consider that they are really good.
Yeah. But you know, you have a... No, I wanted to go back to education, you know, because is our education not so good as the Chinese? Or, I mean, or are people even not getting this education? I mean, how do you attract students? And how much can you fill the classes? I mean, are people eager to learn in Switzerland? Or how about your business?
Thank you very much for this tricky question. I mean, you cannot compare the systems. We can, because drilling people, it's not something that we are doing here. We have to motivate them. So I've never been in China, but I can imagine you have students from A to G, you are studying engineering. From M to N, you are studying art. Or we cannot do that. What we do is to motivate and to go to the schools before us to show how nice, how motivating, how interesting are the studies. And that's what we are doing. So open doors, porte ouverte, open doors, parent discussions, orientation professionnelle. This is what we are doing to motivate young people to make these choices. Then we must adjust the curricula to the market to stay attractive. Because once motivated, a young person coming into the school and being taught the same stuff that was taught 5 years ago or 10 years ago, you're losing him and you have the bad image. So make a very good prospection and keep the pace with the reality.
Yeah, but that's, obviously a professor they used to have yellow, the script used to be yellow because for 20 years so you have quite some demands on your professors.
You are me now, but I see what you, don't forget I'm here since 4 months. So I'm wearing this hat since 4 months, so I quite 5% agree that the script was yellow, yes.
Yeah. And the competition to EPFL, I think it's a good collaboration, or is there?
I don't see a competition. So I think the competition is not the proper word. I see a complementarity, because at the end, the partners, we are there for the canton, for the cantons, for the industry, and they need both type of engineers. They need EPFL engineers and HOS engineers. So the point is not to start competition, and what the schools are doing, not only in Neuchâtel, in the cantons, we are seeking the complementarity.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's obviously at ETH they have the advantage of having slave work by PhD students, which you might introduce one day. But yeah, that's. I have, one question to you, Florian. Obviously, labor cost in Switzerland is very high, and but financing in Switzerland is rather cheap. So, is there a way out that we say robots is gonna displace all the manual labor, and how far we are along that way, or? Do we still need, obviously for luxury watches, you want to have handmade in Switzerland, not robot made in But how far we are along of replacing expensive labor with low-cost robots?
Definitely we can replace a little bit of manual activity with robots.
Is it switched on, yeah?
Is it switched on? Yeah, okay. Sorry. Definitely we can replace some manual activity with robots. It's done already. And also with the Swiss made, a lot of company came with some more production here in Switzerland with by investing in automation. We try to go always a little bit deeper in the accuracy, precision, throughput of the equipment in order to be not replacing human, but some company need to have some more flexibility in the production plan and also costly. So I believe in Switzerland is going to be a kind of balance, especially for watch industry, because there is a lot of actions that you can replace by robots, and some of them you cannot or you want not, because you are in the luxury brand and you sell emotion and so on, and you want to keep this manual activity. So it's going to be a balance.
Yeah. And how to expand into new markets. We all know it's one thing to develop a robot, a new technology. Another one is to open a market channel, like into medical or into photonic. How well are we prepared? Because we come very much from a technology point of view, and we think markets, they come and knock down your door. But I've learned opening a market channel is just as difficult as starting a new technology.
It's definitely difficult. It takes long years, especially when we do assembly, because we have to adapt the equipment to the market. But also when now we have some really good customer coming to Siposa from photonic market, and they say, wow, this is really nice, we need it. Can you do 30 machine for end of the year? No, we are too small. So again, this kind of volume, So we have to deal with this.
Rolando, I would have a question. You are expert at InnoSwiss, right? How you see the evolution of InnoSwiss these last years in terms of contribution, relevance to, let's say, our photonics world?
Okay, so first of all, a disclaimer. Anything I will say, it's my personal view and it's not InnoSwiss view. So
okay.
That's important.
All right.
I think that InnoSwiss is a super powerful tool we have in Switzerland. I was I'm a user of InnoSwiss because I had so many InnoSwiss projects when I was at CSM and still at Ventoprint we have InnoSwiss projects. If it's used correctly, it helps a lot developing technologies. There were a lot of changes in the last years. They were starting funding directly companies. There are still discussions how to do this more because there was always this discussion that they are only funding research institutes and universities. And that's not anymore true. There are a lot of tools where companies can get funding from InnoSwiss. And actually, I've experienced with Europe different other type of fundings, and I've not seen anything else comparable to InnoSwiss in Europe. Also, the acceptance rate is super high. So I can only recommend to use it correctly. So one of the things that sometimes happens is that, and we heard from time to time discussion in this sense, are projects coming, so it's bottom-up, coming from university or research centers that goes to an industrial partner and use the industrial partner to motivate the funding, but the industrial partner is not really interested. And then at the end of the project, the technology is put in a drawer. And that's a misuse of this funding. And actually, it's what I was saying. We should go for funding where there's a market pool and not a technology push. Technology push, there are other funding schemes in Switzerland. There's SNF, there are other tools, but that's not InnoSwiss.
Okay, thank you. There was a question back there from that. Yeah, thank you.
Two questions, but very candid. First, I heard that engineering does not attract the youth anymore. So why? Because, in fact, never as much as today are the marvels of engineering and technology present in our lives. In the time when it was maybe more visible, less in small boxes looking all the same, when it was about steam engine and locomotives and airplanes, it was the must for the youth, and building bridges, etc. Today, you say that nobody is interested anymore. So why? Why? Is it precisely because today, high-tech, which is moving fast, it all looks the same in a box and you better go to computer science? That's my first question. The second one, tradition. Regularly on the posters in Switzerland, we have posters about traditional cheese, Appenzeller, and you have a kid in traditional clothes ready to tell the foreigner what is a secret recipe, and you have his still very young but elder sister said, shh, don't let them know. But today we know that rocket science, you can make it anywhere. The meaning of rocket science is even no longer, because if you give me the same amount of money as you would give to Americans or Japanese and ask me to build a plant, a rocket science plant in Uganda or in Groenland, I could do it as well. Information is available, machines are, etc. So how can tradition and traditional players and traditional countries still keep some advantage when la chaux de fond can be duplicated in paste, cut paste in the most remote corner of the world?
Okay, so very short answer. You see they're only announcing the next. Who wants to answer this? Okay, you and because it's yeah, Gabriel. Oh,
I didn't say no one is coming. Fortunately, the number of students is growing last year, this year, I hope next year. I said these professions are less sexy, and this is on us to make them sexy again. This is what I said. So this is a very good news for us, for all our schools of engineering. The number of young people coming to study engineering is growing. So this is my answer.
Okay, I think this is a good point to stop because it's now just time is up. We have to become more sexy, I hear. But I understand, it used to be, as you said, we looked at the technology inside and that was very exciting. Now we look at the service it provides to us. It makes our life easier, longer, better, living, better living. And I think that's another way of loving technology. Okay, with this, it was so much, so interesting with you to go through these different topics. We could continue a little bit, but we are pushed out by the next one. So we have also time to go to the exhibition. Thanks everybody again, and see you next year again.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for participating. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.